Okay. This might be the craziest thing you might hear me say, right? Right before I do something, right? Okay. So I've been playing Elden Ring. Okay. I have like 22, maybe 23 hours on Elden Ring alone, right? Just on my playthrough. And right, I saw this one video, right, about this dude playing in like a no hit run or something like this. Well, no, it was a no dodge run, right? And he basically did all this stuff. He went to Caelid and all this stuff before even going to Storm Hill, before even going to fight the first trophy boss. Well, technically not really, because if you do everything before going to Storm Hill, you'll fight a trophy boss before then. So, I can't really say that's the first trophy boss, right? Or like there might be a boss in Caelid that you can kill. As also a trophy boss, it could be, right? I don't know, but I have to go play Elden Ring, right? I'm gonna go play Elden Ring, and I gotta go to Caelid because that's where he went before he approached Storm Hill, and I've already went to Storm Hill. I've already beaten the first boss there, right? And got into a high enough area in Storm Hill, right? But lately I've been failing, right? Because I don't have armor. And of course, I choose the samurai class. And if you know why, you know why, right? So, of course, my class is built, from dexterity. I had to learn that. Like off rip, I literally had to learn that. I used ChatGPT to play the game, okay? Like, don't judge, okay? This game is too complex, right? And I start to hate this game on a personal level. Like, because, let me tell you, I played Bloodborne. I played it, right? I only defeated 2 bosses out of the entire thing. The first main boss, right? I beat the Celestial Beast and then the boss after that, right? I beat them too, right? And I will tell you, those 2 bosses, the Celestial Beast, I beat in one try. That boss is not hard. You literally can hit him from behind, right? And it's only harder depending on how slow you are, right? But the father, right? He took a lot of tries. But I'm not mad at that. Realistically, I'm not. Bloodborne gave me like a great run. Even though the game after that boss fight, it basically expanded and now there's a whole bunch of things I can do, right? Here's the thing. Elden Ring, okay? A bunch of optional bosses. I've beaten some dungeon bosses. I've beaten the Tree Sentinel. I've beaten the Nightwalker. I've beaten a fiery golem and like a stone golem. Bro, I've beaten dungeons, okay? And that's just in Weeping Peninsula, right? And Limgrave, right? I have to go to Caelid. Caelid is the one area, right, out of everything before Storm Hill. That's the one area I actually have to go, right? Because that's the only place where I haven't really done anything, where I'm missing a lot of, sites of grace, right? But it's crazy to me that you have to do that. There's a lot of stuff to do, and that's before you get to Storm Hill. And remember, a lot of that stuff is optional. And bro, I'm barely surviving in Storm Hill alone. So now, like, I did all that leveling up. I did all that building of dexterity, right? Like, I want to build my arcane up to almost where my dexterity is so that I can switch from a dexterity build to an arcane build, right? Because I want my bleed damage to be high because I'm trying to do a bleed build, right? So for some reason, there's a lot of optional stuff before even getting to the main stuff. And remember, I only have 3 trophies. The boss at Fort Hyatt, right? The first main story boss, right? And the Round Table Hold. So this game is making me tweak for no reason. And remember, this katana is somewhat slow. It is. But Blood Slash makes it worth it. Because when you have Blood Slash, when you beat... Wait, no, it wasn't Fort Hyatt, right? It was a Castle Monroe. Yeah, Castle Monroe in the Weeping Peninsula, right? That's where that one trophy boss I fought is, right? I beat him. I actually killed him, and he killed me at the same time, but I still end up getting, his talisman, right? I believe that's what it's called, talismans, right? Sorry, I'm literally dumb when it comes to this game. Like, game lore is just not for me, right? But literally, I have to go all the way to Caleb. Now, I've been enraged multiple times because of multiple different bosses I fought. I fought enough bosses to say, let's not, okay? Why is this game this massive, right? And then you have the audacity, right, to be like, yeah, you're still a little bit weak in Storm Hill. Why did I do all that leveling then? Like, what was it just to beat the first main story boss? Was it just to beat him? Because if it was, well, no wonder. But here's the thing: I fought the first story boss without much leveling up. I think it was probably like level at 17, and then after I defeated him, right, I was like, let me get up the castle a little bit, and I did. And then I stopped, and then I did a bunch of Weeping Peninsula, right, with the AI stuff. I did that. I did Limgrave. And it was doing crazy. I was going great, right? But then when I go up to Storm Hill, in this one room, this one dark room, I have a lamp. Turn it on before I go in here. Why am I going here? And a cutscene happens, right? And then the game shuts the door. Come to find out, there's a knight with a wide shield and a long sword with a stop move over here chickening my burrito. Like, why are you even in this room? Like, why did he laugh before he beat me up, bro? He straight up knocked me, bro. Like, it's crazy. And then the game has the audacity to still make you struggle. Yeah, this game feels like torture. And when people show this game, right, when they're playing it, they don't realize that how these games look to us. Like, y'all be like, oh yeah, people see this and still say Roblox. Why would they choose Elden Ring out of all the games? Like, the price and then the amount of suffering in that one game is enough to cause trauma for life, bro. Okay? So let me be clear when I say this, right? I do not hate these games. I sound like I hate them, but I really don't, okay? I just realized that these games are not for me, so I shouldn't have bought Elden, right? And I don't know why I acted like I expected something different when it's like, I played Bloodborne. I was raging at that game. I was straight up raging. Because one of the first things I did, right? I did a whole run through all those enemies, right? In Bloodborne. And then ran all the way to the bridge, right? And I ran too far and I ran into Celestial Beast. Right? Well, no, I didn't, right? I forgot. I watched someone do that and they ran into Celestial Beast and then they died because they were trying to dodge the Celestial Beast. When I found out that the Celestial Beast was on the bridge, you should have found out. My surprise. I straight up went to that dude and whacked him. He got clapped first try. And this dude wasn't even difficult. But here's the thing. That one boss fight got my confidence a little too high. Now, I want to go over here and be like, let me see if I can find the next boss. Right? After I get that checkpoint, and level myself up. Come to find out, I go to the next boss, right? Because I Googled, right? I have to Google stuff when it comes to open world games, okay? So sometimes I Google stuff like, how to do certain things, right? And next boss, I said Google how to find him, found him, right? Why did I think I was gonna beat him? I got killed multiple times before even getting to the little bit of health that he uses, right? And then he gets to, the beast form. Like, why did I think I was gonna really rock him? He is a hunter turned beast. He rocked me multiple times. It literally took in Arizona a pack of gummies, multiple packs in fact, right? And some music blasting in my headphones. You can't imagine the suffering that I went through to beat that one boss. Just to come and find out that they just opened up a whole new place. Multiple different routes. And they're not even bosses here. It's literally mini bosses that are bigger than him. They're the size of the celestial beast. Why? Why are these games like this, bro? I would hate to see Demon Souls. I would hate to see Dark Souls. I've seen some of Sekiro. I've seen those dudes. But Elden Ring is not playing. I fought a dragon, bro. These games are not for the weak, bro. But I'm over here put it in these death sentences like I'm straight up a victim, bro. A victim of these games' abuse. Okay? Like, it's crazy. And when you show these games to players who play like real story games, mind you, real story games, one-way campaign type thing, right? They think these games are amazing. But then you show these to the players who play games with one ending, one main storyline and type thing, right? And you think they're going to love it? No! No! Of course they're not! Why would they? Why would they? It's literally a game that looks like it's designed to make you suffer. Like, I play Elden Ring. I only feel satisfaction, right? I only feel satisfied, right? Satisfied. Sorry. My bad. I only feel satisfied after beating these bosses that I try on, right? Like, I've beaten every boss I've encountered by far. Every boss I've encountered, right? If I've encountered, I can't even say every boss, right? There's one type of enemy I will not fight, and that's Bloody Fingers. I've only killed one Bloody Fingers that I've encountered. One out of like 4 or 5 of them. And I don't even think I can go to Caelid through the path that I wanted to go through, because when I tried that, this Bloody Finger, right? This Bloody Fingers, right? She was straight up wielding like a big heavy sword and coming to rock me, bro. Like, nah. And then when I try to run, nah, a barrier spawns. Wow, guys, I ran away from all these other Bloody Fingers. But the one time I want to just go past these Bloody Fingers, I can't. There's a barrier. And then I got rocked, and then I lost like I think it was like 2,000, maybe 3,000 runes. I tried to claim it back, got rocked again. And then there you go. 3,000 runes lost completely. And people are like, peak cinema. Get out of here, bro. Get out. Like, these games are only good once you get through all these challenges. The games itself are not as good as you may think, just on a basis, right? That's why I can be like, look, I played God of War, right? I played God of War 3, I played God of War Ragnarok, I played God of War 2018, right? Played them all, right? I've only beaten God of War 2018, right? God of War Ragnarok, I played when I had PlayStation Plus on PS4, right? So, in turn, right? I played Bloodborne, PS4, PlayStation Plus, right? I played most of the games that I have in my play history on PlayStation Plus, right? So I played Bloodborne there, God of War, but I have God of War 2018. I own that, right? Like, I can play it whenever. God of War 3, played it whenever, right? But also, I'm mainly a horror games, fan. I like survival horror, specifically. Survival horror. That's specifically what I like, right? Here's the thing, is that I'm not willing to play those games. So instead, I have to suffer torment by playing Elden Ring. I cannot play these games. And I might have bought the Spider-Man game, but I already beat that. I already beat it. I beat the main campaign, and then I beat the 3 episode DLCs. I beat them all. I may not have 100% of trophies, but yeah, I may not have all the suits in the Spider-Man completely yet, but bro, I've already beaten the stories. Now all I can do is restart. That's what I'm thinking about doing sometimes, right? But look, I have the main game Resident Evil. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and When 9 comes out, I'm gonna try to. But of course, I don't want to play those games. Those games annoy me, especially Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3, bro. I hate y'all for that. Nemesis one-shots me, and this dodge doesn't work that much. Now I'm in the sewer level with like 1 HP, limping around like this. And I'm going to have to fight these fish-looking creatures while constantly I can't run at all. Like, I can't lie, it's my fault, but dang, the dodging did not work whatsoever. I bombed Nemesis like 2 times. Just to keep him away from the vent that I was trying to open. Like, come on, guys, really? These chase scenes don't work. Especially with her cheat, bro. Y'all have to play like you're in Elden Ring. You have to play like you're in Bloodborne because Nemesis don't play. And I don't play it either. So I'm gone. I'm not playing Resident Evil 3. Okay, I have it. I'm not playing it. I have the new Resident Evil 4 and I had a newer Resident Evil 4. I had the old Resident Evil 4. I beat the newer Resident Evil 4. I might choose to continue off the old Resident Evil 4, even though it seems difficult to play. But I played Resident Evil 5. I'll be fine in Resident Evil 4. Okay. I beat I have 8, 7, 6. 5, and then the newer 4 all beat, basically. Right. And these games are great games in total. I just want to appreciate all the games that are made, regardless of if they're good or bad. Right. Because it takes effort to make these games. But also, I start to hate these games, okay? I start to hate them after a while, right? But here's the thing. I'm about to admit to you right now. Resident Evil 7, I did not beat. Me specifically, I did not beat. One of the people I know, I allowed them to play my console, and they beat Resident Evil 7. I did not beat Resident Evil 7. I beat Resident Evil 8. Like, they were beating me in their playthrough. But then I did a whole restart playthrough, and I got through House Benevito, and then after that, it was smooth sailing from there. Really? And boom. I beat Resident Evil 8, got those trophies myself, right? Resident Evil 5, beat myself. The newer Resident Evil 4, beat myself, right? Like, some of the games I do have, I don't beat them myself. I have someone play my console and beat them for me, basically. And not because they're difficult to me, because I'm not willing to play them, right? And they be, making their own saves, right? Same thing happened on Bloodborne, same thing happened with Elden Ring, right? So, in turn, you have to understand, I love playing games. But realistically, I play better in front of an audience because half the time I'm not willing to play these games by myself, right? I'm not willing to. And this is exactly why, right? Is that one of the things I want to do is make gaming content, right? Is because of the fact that I don't like playing these games by myself. So at least if there's someone watching, that's great. That's great to me, right? But it's just so crazy to me. People like to show these games, right? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, people would rather play Roblox. Well, of course they want to play Roblox. Why would someone would put themselves in that torturous scenario? These people are murking you continuously, and you have to continuously try to murk them. Like the dude in Elden Ring, the first dude I encountered who called me maidenless. I hit him once because I was like, you finna die for calling me maidenless. He beat me multiple times. I could have just ended my suffering by just saving at the site of grace. I didn't though. Every time I respawned, I went close to him and beat him up every time. And I lost a lot of times until I started, actually winning. And this dude, he can heal. But he also had the edge over me with the blood loss thing. The blood loss is crazy, but at least I have bleed now. So if I was to rematch him with my bleeding ability, he not winning. But, it's crazy. You cannot show these games to people and think they're still going to want to play. Right? I played games. Right? I played enough games, okay? I'll say that. I played enough games. Right? I don't play them professionally, okay? If I, made content on, great. But physically I couldn't right now, right? Because I would want, my face in the picture. and I don't have any sort of camera for that other than my phone, and I don't think I can do anything with that yet. But yeah, it's just like you show these games to people, and then you think, oh yeah, they're gonna play. No, why would they? I've seen what these games that they're talking about, and realistically, they don't. They make the boss fights look easy when they're playing, when they choose to play, right? When they choose to record clips, they make the boss fights look easy because they're better at the game. But then when you actually play these boss fights, you're like, no, nope. Like, it was hard enough to fight that one dragon, right? That one dragon in Algae Lake. That's one dragon. It was hard enough to fight that dragon, okay? I had to continuously run around and attack its legs. That's not my preferred method, right? I prefer to just, blood slash. I'd rather spam that, okay? Even though it's a slower move, it does a lot of damage. It does. And that's what I did. Any boss fight where I can use that move on them, best believe I'm using that move. I use that move to take down giants. I use that move to take down that the stone goblin, boss. Bro, that boss was straight up difficult for no reason. Simply because the stone goblins do a lot. So you have to go in there, summon immediately. It's crazy. But, like I've played enough, right, to tell you myself, why would people want to play certain games, right? These games look great from your perspective, right? But are not as good from the outside perspective. You look like an insane mental patient when you say, oh yeah, play Elden Ring, play Bloodborne. What are you talking about? These games are not real, okay? These games make you seem like you're insane for trying to kill these bosses over and over again. And Elden Ring just makes me want to crawl up into a corner, like if I'm in Arkham Asylum, and just slowly rock back and forth. And you slowly start to realize, right, that these games are for real difficult, right? And these games are realistically only difficult if you make them difficult. And that's what I will say, though, is that they're only difficult when you make them difficult. If you get better at the game becomes easier. I will say that, though, because I don't like to hate on games unnecessarily. Okay, most games up that I don't like I'm not a fan of. Like Telltale games, I'm not really a fan of. Right? Your decision to impact the ending type of games. I'm not really a fan of them. I like something more straightforward. Last of Us, straightforward. Resident Evil, straightforward, right? Even if you might think it's not straightforward, it is, though. Okay? But I like straightforward endings. I like, getting to working through certain levels, right? And getting to certain endings, right? I like doing that. When I can't do that, though, that's when I just feel like it's stupid. Like, open world games are fun, right? I will say that they are. The problem is that if they don't have a straight path, they seem less fun. That's just my opinion. Like, you don't have to agree with it whatsoever. But it just seems so dumb, right? I'm just being honest, right? These games seem kind of overrated, but, I've heard multiple times that Bloodborne has the sauce, and, and by the way, I can automatically settle this debate, right? I've already asked ChatGPT who's the strongest out of those protagonists, like the Lies of P, the Demon Souls protagonist, Dark Souls protagonist, Wolf, Tarnished, Hunter from Bloodborne. Like, I've asked that question, right? Out of all those specifically, right? And you know what they said? The Hunter from Bloodborne is him. The Hunter is the ghost. The Hunter is whooping them all. Sorry, Wolf, you're getting clapped. Sorry, Tarnish, you're getting clapped. It said, the Hunter is the strongest out of all of them, right? But Wolf comes in second, and Tarnish comes in third. Take that as you will. Ask an AI yourself, okay? One was based on lore, right? And then I did one that's based on pure 1v1. And the Hunter won both times, by the way. The hunter was the most powerful both times when it came to lore and when it came to just a 1v1 in general. But take that as you will, okay? But like I'm gonna go play Elden Ring right now, probably. Okay, I'm saying probably because just talking about it gets me enraged sometimes, right? But in turn, just I want y'all to realize, right, that when you say play these games, it's like you don't know how this realistically looks to us, right? For the simple fact of the matter, it looks like you're about to die continuously. It looks like you're about to experience eternal agony by playing these games. Like, and then you act like, it's chill. I'm fine. I'm dodging this. I'm doing good. Right? Realistically, I'm doing fine. No, you're not. You look like you are, but realistically, these games are difficult. These games are difficult if you are weaker and if you are bad at these games. This is exactly why if you one of the things that makes Sekiro unplayable is if you do not know how to parry. It's said that if you do not know how to parry in that game, the game feels unplayable and you will feel very trash at the game. But take it as you will. Like Bloodborne, dodging with a gun and a trick weapon. I'm mad at that. Like, kind of. I'm kind of mad at that. The gun is inaccurate. Just saying. Right? But I'm not willing to trade the gun for any other weapon. Nope. Take it as you will. I'm not. I'm not willing to trade the gun for a shield or a torch. Nope. It may be inaccurate, but it can come in clutch it sometimes, right? Plus, I like playing the games how they're meant to be played, right? Elden Ring is kind of a game where you can win via any way. You just gotta, be good at the game, realistically. Yeah, I'm just saying. But, take it as you will. But, I'm gonna go play some games, okay? I have nothing else to really do, right? School's not in session yet. Chilling, right? So, hope you have a good day. I can't really say see you tomorrow when it's like I might end up posting something later even more. I don't know. But I guess see you tomorrow then. I'll just say see you tomorrow because I can't predict the future, guys, okay? So see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great day, And remember, not every game is bad just because you're bad at it. Just some advice, okay? I kind of say certain games are overrated, but I don't ever say I hate these games specifically as in hate, as in a great dislike. It's more of like I feel like I'm too bad at these games to explain why I'm bad. So it's like realistically, certain games are just not my bag, okay? So I don't mess with them that much. So if they're not your bag, high chance you're not going to be good at them, okay? Like Telltale games, not my bag. That's why I don't really play them. But I'm not going to sit there and say they're trash, okay? So just take it as you will, okay? But yeah, see you tomorrow, and hope you have a great day. Peace.